Good morning, listeners and viewers. Jalf, here we are. It looks like we're in not a very nice place, doesn't it?
No, but it is. It's a lovely place.
It's a beautiful place. Yeah, it's a great place. Anyway, you're listening to Ammar and Jalf live on our weekly radio show right here on Spice FM.
Each week, each week we'll bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops. Whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can help. We can help. Gosh, it's Friday.
Well, certainly is, Ammar.
It's Friday, the 8th of May is what it is. And yeah, we've got like so many things to discuss this morning with you. We've got some extra special visitors, guests, and the sun's shining. But despite all of that, feels a bit like doom and gloom, doesn't it?
Well, I think interestingly, Ammar, I went to see a physio yesterday, and just talking to people these days, everyone's actually so knowledgeable about what's going on in the world. I think that with everything that's been happening in the last few years, it really has opened people's minds to try and kind of get a full understanding of what's going on and what ultimately affects our day-to-day living, and where is the origins of all of these pains and troubles that we're all facing. So it's really interesting. And there's always going to be, I think the conclusion was that from this young man was, well, ultimately there's certain things that we can't affect.
Right.
And well, you can't affect, we can't go and unblock the Straits of Hormuz. We can't go and stop wars, and we're not in a position to. We want peace and A, B, C, and D, but we're not in a position to. We're not in those decision makers. So what will be will be. But I think there's certain things in our own day-to-day lives that we can try and influence, and keep that positive mind and be around minded people. And so there is that element of it that we can focus on, the ones that we're in control of. If we try and make them the best that they can possibly be, I think that's a really good starting point. And just all of the other stuff, maybe just don't get too engulfed in it, because I think if you do, Ammar, like you said, it does feel like doom and gloom. But I think if you withdraw yourself from it and focus on your own little world, and be around people that you can maybe change, influence, inspire, or be inspired by, then I think it's a really good start. So yeah, doom and gloom, I think it's there around the world, but I think we have to kind of be that light, within the little communities and the little hubs. I think that will then shine once that network gets bigger and is more connected. I think that's where the light's going to come from.
Yeah. So what do you mean by that then?
Well, I think if you imagine like your little space, well, not a little space, but this space here where you've got X amount of people, everyone's got that mindset of, look, what's happening in the world, let's park it to one side and let's be that source of positivity. And then when you have a networking event, ABC networking event, other networking events, that energy is passed on, isn't it? Good energy is always passed on. People steal it. And then that's, I think.
Well, it does, but do you not sometimes feel as if you can be as positive and look, I'm the most optimistic person in the world, right? I imagine there's others who would like to take that claim to fame, but I'm incredibly optimistic all of the time. And what I find incredibly sad at times or frustrating is you can create as much positivity as you want and as you can. But people tend to, and this isn't all people tend to like want to come and don't they? As
Yeah,
in,
don't
it's
kick
like,
it out.
yeah. So I'm just saying, I absolutely agree, and I'm delighted to have, such a good fellow host, co-founder of ABC, a lovely person, a very nice person, a hugely successful business person, as a friend, and long term, and someone that I trust and implicitly. And I enjoy the relationship we have because it's positive. We encourage each other, and it's a nice thing. It sort of it invigorates and empowers me to want to do more. And if I've ever got a question, I'll go, oh, Jeff, and have that honest type of conversation with you. Um, but sadly, like that's not across the board, is it?
Yeah, but I think it depends a lot. I think obviously you're in a real position of influence with the network and the positions that you hold. So I think you've got a lot more responsibility on your shoulders
Mm.
because you're representing so many different organizations that you're heading. So that in itself, I think your position is so different to my position because whilst I have X amount of employees that maybe I have to inspire, but you're representing, you're representing the king. You're representing, you're a commander, you're a king, you're part of the army. So there's so many different. So I guess you're always going to have a very positive mentality that needs to be pushed on to the others. But unfortunately, the reality is genuine businesses are always going to suffer, and they are suffering, and we're suffering. And that sometimes you can't, your positivity is not going to solve their circumstance that they find themselves in because there's obviously bigger reasons for that.
Yeah.
So, but overall,
But coming back to your point, I'm incredibly proud of what we've created, um, from a community perspective, and that's exactly what we have, isn't it?
Yeah,
Is a community. We've created a community, and it's a vibrant, powerful. People come together every single event. Whether it was inclusion by default, curry clubs. We've got a number of events coming up next week, and we've got Caroline Fennick and Zara Ford joining us at 10:30 for 10 minutes just to talk a little bit about that Breaking Barriers event, which is shaping inclusive business support in the Northeast. Kevin and the team had done some significant research, which is informed by previous research on what are the challenges, what are the barriers for businesses, but in particular underrepresented businesses, because there are some variances, as in I appreciate that lots of people may not wear their religion on a sleeve, but things like interest and things like paying interest and things like, how do you grow your business when you're unable from a ethical or a moral or a religious perspective, unable to use the support that's there. As in, I mean, look, we have this conversation, but we know so many people who won't get a mortgage or who won't want to pay interest, and because of that restriction, it becomes incredibly hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think that's kind of it is still within that particular religious group. I think it's still a very small percentage of people that refuse to do that, Ammar, because I think most of the people that I know, they understand and they value the reasons why.
Well, I probably disagree with you somewhat.
Yeah.
Because of the research that had been done, right? As in, it is a very much a case of that people they may not outwardly or openly, right? Because actually, and it's a really sad state of affairs, isn't it? To be embarrassed to be a Muslim or embarrassed to be any religion at the minute.
I don't think we should be embarrassed, especially.
No, I don't think you should.
Yeah,
but people
because because of everything that's going on and the policies of reform. But I think from my perspective, Ammar, I think we're British people. So we've acculturated ourselves to UK society and way of life here.
Don't mess around.
We still
Let's get
maintain
down
our
to the
The
business.
Northeast's hit Asian and world music radio station.
From my perspective, my outlook is, Ammar, is that you need to be able to embrace the values of the country that we live in, and you should have the freedom to adhere to whatever culture and whatever religion that you would like to associate yourself with. I think it is definitely 100% possible to be both. So I think maybe it might be a little bit more fear today, which is astounding if there is. I mean, I don't have any fear in my heart at all, but maybe it's what people see in the media, and I think some of that is really hyped, because when you meet people on the ground, everyone's just their normal selves. So I think we have to, again, if people are finding difficulties, maybe they can share it with us. But I say that keep your identity, keep your faith, be positive, and share the good things about the faith. And for example, my understanding of why
you need to speak a bit.
My understanding of why people the interest thing, riba it's called, why that is kind of prohibited. It's because so Islamically, to pay interest and receive interest is prohibited. And the reason for this is it's deemed as so if when you're working, you need to be accountable for the work that you do. So for example, someone working in a factory, he'll go there at 8 o'clock in the morning and he finishes at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he's done a hard day's work. And it's a good day's pay for a good day's work. And that's kind of an ethical, it's ethical. So if you imagine it's a business, imagine a garment business. So you have the process of that business is you have a designer, let's say in a beautiful office like this, they design this lovely jacket. Then it's sent over to Turkey, and it's manufactured in Turkey. Then it's shipped over from Turkey by freight to around the world, and then it's retailed and it's sold. Everywhere through that chain, everyone should make a level of profit, which is completely fair, and that's how it should be. So everyone's making profit, everyone's doing their bit to get that product to the shelves. So it's hard. Everyone's, through that entire line, everyone's making an X amount of money. Now, so that's fair business, right? But what's unfair business is if you're trying to take advantage of someone's difficult position. Let's say that when you had people like, was it Wonga.com, and they were charging 2,000% interest and stuff. Like, let's say that someone's in a difficult situation, and it goes back to the beautiful Shakespearean play, Merchants of Venice, and there was that Shylock who wanted to borrow someone X amount of money, but he said, if you don't pay me back, I want a pound of your flesh. And there was a big, is that moral? Is that ethical? Is that unethical? So there's a lot of things which are in that whole situation. It can get really, it's deemed to be unethical in that there's advantage taken from one's difficult position, and that money is given but there's not, you're just giving it from nothing, and you're making X amount of profit from someone's difficult position, not from their hard work. So for that reason, I might not have explained it in the best way, but that's my understanding of why it's prohibited, because you're not ethically earning that money. It's taking advantage of someone's difficult position, and you're making X amount of money from that. And obviously, but that's just one particular scenario. So the argument could be another. Say, well, hold on, I'm giving you a bank loan and you're investing it in your business, and you're using that funds to then make your business lots and lots of money. So there is those arguments in place as well, and that's probably why, well, that may know it's prohibited, but still go ahead and do it, because they can't have their businesses if they didn't have relationships with banks and stuff. So that's just to give a little bit of an insight of
the why
of the why.
and look, we genuinely, we genuinely have spoken to, if I think about there's a number of the Turkish community, there's a vast number of people. My own brother will not take a mortgage, right? He will not do anything interest related. And even sending his daughter to university was a bit of a barrier because he wasn't prepared for her to take the fees, right? So this isn't like hypothetical that's happening over there somewhere. I'm giving you an example of our family where my brother's beliefs are preventing him from, and his daughter and whatever else, from realizing or reaching their potential, right? But actually quite fortunate to be able to pay for it now, right? He's working triply hard.
But Ammar, just on that point, right? If you imagine 2 years ago, though, there wasn't any interest on that, or 3 years ago, there wasn't any interest on that student loan. It was interest free. So in that instance, it would have been all right. But they've changed it now, and they add an interest, and
well, the interest's increased. There was actually, I was reading in the Sunday Times, the interest has increased for some people to such an extent that, like within particular families, one person who'd gone to university like a few months or whatever, like, friends or whatever, basically 2 people doing the same course spread over like a term or a different whatever it was. One of them was able to, they're paying, I don't know, whatever it is for their student loan, and the other, because of the increase of it, has gone up so significantly. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Anyway, I'm just sharing with you. There's a number of barriers to, and part of what Caroline and Zara and the Northeast Combined Authority and the Mayor are doing is better understanding what those barriers are, and just make sure, look, they're not going to be able to fix everything and everyone, but just make sure that where there is the opportunity, it might very well be that they talk to a fund provider that says, can you look at fees instead of interest, right? And that then opens up the door, doesn't it, for businesses with a particular type of, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I might depend.
I don't know. I'm just using hypothetical.
If they cut the fee and it's to cover the interest, then obviously you're sugarcoating something.
Well, okay.
So maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, it would be interesting to get a specialist to come and share with us exactly how it.
Well, we're working with Durham University, right? Who are the Islamic finance leaders globally. They convene the Islamic finance for the Middle East and such like. So obviously we can get them on, is what we can. Let's because I'm conscious that Caroline and Zara are going to come on and we can interrogate them a little bit. But before we do, let's just share some of the headlines, because there is some positivity that's going on, and I'm not suggesting there isn't. It's just a really, really challenging time for businesses. I say that, I was in Turkey, and the people that I met and businesses that I've met, it was brilliant. There's a real interest in the UK, and sadly, what's going on in the Middle East is incredibly sad. But what it's driving is more opportunity for here. People coming to the UK. People actually going, I think I should be looking to the UK for investments, for growth, for opportunity. Anyway, we need to be able to end the slideshow and swap this around, I think. But we've got some. We have some news, is what we have, and I'm going to let you read out some of the news, Jack.
So, shall I start with them?
Yeah, please.
Santander. Santander doubles University of Sunderland's partnership to 100 grand a year, investing in the next generation of Northeast talent. Incredible. Santander has doubled its annual commitment.
You'll have to speak up.
Santander has doubled its annual commitment to the University of Sunderland, signing a renewed partnership with 100 grand a year, 100 grand a year until 26-27. The deal delivers scholarships, bursaries, employability awards, and entrepreneurship grants to students, graduates, and staff, building on a near 8-year relationship that has already supported hundreds of Sunderland students. With more than half of UK universities now reporting deficits, partnerships of this scale are becoming increasingly vital, keeping their education accessible and opportunity driven across the Northeast.
UK first, Simply Business plugs small business insurance directly into ChatGPT. Digital broker Simply Business, which is one of them. There's lots of brokers, which is one of the ones that we work with as well through. When I say we, our partners, SME Centre of Excellence, work through. So they've have become the first UK insurer to integrate its pricing engine directly into ChatGPT, allowing sole traders and small business owners to generate an indicative insurance quote in seconds without leaving the platform. With 5.5 million small businesses across the UK, the move signals a wider shift in how financial services are reaching SMEs, meeting business owners where they already are inside the AI tools they use every day to research, plan, and make decisions. And it's really interesting, Jalf, right? Because I went to Turkey, and actually we have a platform, and I'm not going to share or show it here right now. But I went to Turkey and I used our translation and culture platform that I've had the team develop here, called Ammar.ai.
All right.
That's what it is. And it's brilliant. That's what it is. Anyway, and I, people were sat there trying to translate with certain people and whatever else. I fired up Ammar.ai and it translated like so effectively that they've actually asked for a copy of it.
Okay.
Like all of the ministers, the MPs, the students, the universities, like everyone that we met asked for a copy of Amazing.ai. So it's like it's great. And actually being able to communicate yourself breaks down barriers with the people that you're communicating with, but also like vice versa. You feel comfortable. You're not like, oh, did they translate that properly? Did they understand that? It's almost takes away any bias or any constraints. It's and it understands culture. The last one before we bring our guests on the show.
Headline 3: Port of Blyth unveils 100 million Battleship Wharf expansion to power to Northeast green energy revolution.
So just very briefly, Port of Blyth, this is brilliant, has announced landmark 100 million expansion for the wharf development, backed by Northumberland County Council, the North East Combined Authority, and funding from the Crown Estate Supply Chain Accelerator. The investment will reclaim 3 hectares of land, extend quay capacity by 260 metres, and deepen berths to accommodate next generation offshore wind components, cementing the North East position at the heart of the UK's clean energy transition and creating hundreds of skilled jobs. This development sits alongside the growing momentum of initiatives like ISS Freeport, which is already positioning the Northeast as a globally connected hub for trade, logistics, and clean energy supply chain activity. Together, these investments are sending a clear signal to the world that the Northeast is open, ambitious, and ready to lead the next generation revolution. Let's bring our guests on to the show. I'm sure we have Caroline and Zara joining us. I'm hoping that they are, and that there isn't any challenges or issues with Zoom, because we know how much public sector platforms really enjoy Zoom. That's a separate conversation, but let me stop sharing this and say hello. Jalf, where you go?
Good morning.
Morning. Hi, Ammar. Hi, Jalf.
Hi.
Caroline, hello. We can't hear you. but we're going to have to keep talking because we're on a live on air as well. So people who may not be seeing us need to hear us. So forgive me if I just keep rabbiting for a little bit. Caroline, do you want to try again? No, we still can't hear you. We'll let you adjust your microphone.
Can you hear us, Caroline? Yeah, Caroline can hear us. So shall we get started with Zahra? Caroline can
flip, and then Caroline, keep testing your audio. I appreciate that if you don't use Zoom all of the time, but where the microphone is, there's normally a place where you can select your input, so your microphone, and that will allow you to hopefully tune it in. Are you there?
I've taken my headphones off. Does that work?
We can hear you. Brilliant. There you go.
Finally.
No, that's all good. It's all good. Wonderful to have you. Obviously, we've been doing ducks, and I'm not going to tell all of our viewers and listeners what that means, but I mean, obviously, I'm going to have to explain it. So Caroline and Zahra, we managed to rope in last minute is what we did. So we're delighted that we've managed to do that. So let's kick off with Caroline. Who are you? What do you do? And why do you do it? Please.
So I'm Caroline Fennick. I'm Head of Business Growth and Support at the Combined Authority. So supporting the Mayor, working in partnership with local authorities and partners across the region to make sure that businesses, wherever they are in our region, are able to access support, whether they want to start a business, they want to grow their business, they just want some support to make it more stable and more resilient given the difficult economic times that we're in.
Brilliant. That almost sounded like our introduction, didn't it, Jalf? So Jalf and I have had this script for 15 years, and it's whether you want to start a business, just want to, or, you know, what was it, Jalf? It's your line, I think. Whether you want to start a business. Anyway, brilliant. Thank you. Lovely to have you on. Why do you do it, Caroline? I don't think we got
that. So I'm relatively new to the job. I do it because I think that business is an absolutely fundamental part. You know, it allows people to achieve their ambitions in life. It supports people in employment. It's really important for the region that we have a really strong basis in that. Before this, came from the civil service. I worked in the Department for Business, but it's great to be here doing this in the region and being closer to where the impacts of your work are. And I'm from the Northeast originally, so it's really important to me that we have a really strong base here in the region.
Brilliant. Thank you. And it's great to have you as well. So thank you for what you're doing. Zahra, who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
Hello, so I'm Zahra Ford, so I'm Programme Manager for Inclusive Investment and Business Support. I'm really, really passionate about removing barriers to investment and support. So that's why I do it, removing barriers right across the board, from difficulty accessing finance and investment to lack of representation, relatable role models, those feelings of support systems not being designed for people with lived experiences, and generally just not knowing where to go for support or accessing networks. So I've led on the Social Finance Fund, and that was a fund designed with the sector for the sector for socially trading organisations who were falling through the gaps in access and investment. So that's going really well. So I just want to continue with that momentum and help other underrepresented founders too. So I'm super excited for this event. There's lots of other events too with female founders. On Monday, we've got a neurodiverse event. So just to keep pushing and get as much information from everyone so that we can make the changes that are needed.
Brilliant. No, thank you. And it's apparent the passion that you both have for, you know, sort of lifting, as they say, all ships, as or boats, or whatever that analogy is, when a rising tide happens. So we've sort of ABC and yourselves have pulled together this event on the back of some research that was undertaken last year, and this event's happening next Thursday, at ISSA View. Why should people attend, and what can they expect?
I'll jump in here. So I think it's just to make this clear, this isn't a typical presentation where we've come in with fixed answers. We have done some research, we've listened to those, and we're going to present the barriers that have we've been informed about, and it's very much a listen and learn for us. So we've heard the recurring themes with barriers to finance, visibility, confidence in navigating support, and people feeling generally disconnected from networks. So now we're going to take that back to the people who are affected and ask what would genuinely help. So this is your opportunity to come forward, tell us what you want to see, and what can we do to make things better in the future.
Brilliant. And it is it is very much an interactive session. Sort of bringing people together. Zara, Caroline, this isn't something new either. So you've done a similar exercise, as you've mentioned, with female founders. Why did you do that, and what was the rationale behind that?
So we've done that because we aren't the experts. Those people who have the barriers and are trying to access that support or investment, they're the experts. We need to know these lived experiences, what the barriers are, so that we can make changes behind the scenes. And from this journey, I've learned so much already, and I'm excited to continue learning more and then put those barriers. Hopefully, we can put those barriers aside for people and make the changes that are required. For example, with the neurodiverse, I think it's about 60% of founders are neurodiverse. So that in itself is just really insightful as to how we support people moving forward.
I think it's really, sorry.
Sorry, go.
I was just going to say, I think it's really timely as well. So at the moment, we're looking at business support across the region. And as I said, working with partners across the region to how we design that, what it looks like going forwards. So it's a great opportunity for people to come along and help to shape that. This is something that we'll be rolling out from the start of next year. So it's a great opportunity to shape that. And part of the feedback that we get as well is about networking and being able to see other people like yourselves, so you'll be able to hear from people. There'll be a panel of people there who have access to business support and opportunities that the combined authority has. You'll be able to hear about those, but you'll be able to meet people like yourselves, network, meet the team, and hear about the survey and how we're going to build on that. And then if you needed any further encouragement, famous curry club at the end of the session, what more incentive could you need?
Well, that's brilliant. If you don't mind me asking, obviously so you're part of the business growth for the combined authority, but it covers the whole of the Northeast.
Yeah.
And how do you go around? Because that's a very, very big area. So is there an area where you particular focus within? So for example, I'm in the city centre, so I would love to have
city centre. Sorry, just to be clear.
City centre, right? So there's only one city centre.
No, there isn't. Hey, don't be so.
But point I'm trying to make is, I think businesses in this current climate, they need so much help and they need so much support, and really, we don't really know where to turn to.
Yeah.
And your organisation, I'm sure it's there for a particular purpose, but how do the local businesses kind of get to know about you? How are you communicating yourselves to the business community? Because I'm not, and I think my peers are not mindful, or they don't know too much about yourselves.
Yeah, and that's why partnership with organisations like ABC and people like Ammar and yourself, Jalf, are really important to help us get the word out there. We know that we're only reaching a small percentage of businesses are interacting with, for example, our Growth Hub advisors. We want to raise that awareness that it's not just us in the combined authority. This is a team effort. So all the local authorities have teams of business advisors who can help businesses to understand. We want to work together and make sure that businesses understand the support that's out there, and they understand that it's for them. It's something that can help them be clear on what they want to succeed, what success looks like for them as an individual and for their business, and then work out a plan of how they can do that. And there are people that can help you support that, whatever stage you're at in your journey, whether you're starting up or whether you're much further down the track.
Have you got a really big budget there to help the Northeast business?
No, we're in the public sector. There are no really big budgets.
Because I remember many years ago, I'm presuming it's very different to the business link that there was, which was brilliant going back about 15 years ago. They helped. It was quite local from what I understand, and they helped lots and lots of businesses. Everyone knew about it, and one person was telling the other, and you could tap into the funding with a real benefit, real experts coming in and solving problems and giving solutions and taking your businesses forward. And I think that's the kind of thing that I feel has been missing in the last few years. So if that's what you're providing, I think it would be a really good option for so many businesses in this really difficult climate that businesses are in.
Yeah, so there'll be a range of resources. So there will be more digital resources so people can help themselves. They can be able to access that and understand where information is, but we need help from people like yourselves to get that word out there. But we have a Growth Hub website, for example, and through that you can book appointments. So you can make contact with the team and book appointments with advisors. They can be done out in the regions wherever you're based, but they can also be done sort of if it's more convenient to do it virtually like we're doing now. We can have discussions like that as well. So we're here to kind of, support people where they need that support and when they need that support.
And I mean, just picking up on that point, Jalf, a couple of points there. I don't think the days of business link in the way that it was set up and established will necessarily come back. But there is quite a lot of support. And it's really interesting and telling, given the fact that I talk about North East Combined Authority, Mayor, talk about all of these things that, despite us talking about this and sharing and people sort of getting involved in surveys and round tables and all of that, that people don't necessarily correlate the two. And
yeah.
There's almost Caroline, isn't there? There's a point in time where there's only so much you can do trying to connect with as many people as you can, and there's some responsibility for the people also to try and identify how and where they can get that. As in, I'm just thinking about a lot of the business owners that we talk to, including yourself, Jalf, right? It's you're almost constantly focused in the business, is what you are. There's this term, you're working in the business rather than on the business, and actually you'll be so surprised as to how much support does exist. And yes, it might not be hard cash, but advice, support, guidance, opportunities. I know that, and I'm not speaking out of turn, am I, Caroline? Well, I'm going to say it anyway, and then you can tell me you shouldn't have said that. But, there's even current support or suggestion around for SMEs and intensive energy spaces with some potential support that is being explored at a local level, isn't there?
Yeah, so we have looked at SME decarbonisation, and this is a work that goes on within my team, but there's wider teams in the Combined Authority, for example. We can help signpost businesses to that much wider range of support that there is available. So it's not just about a business advisor sitting down with you and saying, well, you can access this, or you can have 3 hours or 12 hours of time to talk about your business. It's about what are the options, what will help make your company more resilient. Is it an energy cost issue? Is it that actually digital adoption could help you? We have programs that support with that sort of thing. What are other opportunities that are coming up as we develop more of the sectors and the opportunities that we have? The local growth plan that the Mayor has identifies some sectors very strongly. Some of those align very much with national programs. How can we build work around that and bring more of that focus and that energy and funding to the Northeast? So it's about making sure that it's not just a few firms here or there, but those opportunities are spread much wider.
Good. So I think the key core point, Zora, Caroline, is get along to this event. Come and talk to Zora, come and talk to Caroline and the rest of the team. Hear about what's going on, understand a little bit of the research, but more importantly and more critically, help inform the support that people need, including yourself, Jeff.
Yeah, 100%.
Is the thing. So Jeff's got several venues, and there's several others who are in hospitality, and I suppose that's the other part of this is what are the cultural, religious, or background barriers and influences to doing business, which the research has sort of identified. So we need to validate that with people in the room, and then what are the additional challenges, given the complexity of different sectors as well? Certainly within hospitality, and we're trying to get people out of bed next Thursday morning is what we're doing. But I'm hopeful that there's adequate representation from a number of the different sectors, because that's ideally what we want, and appreciate they might not represent every single person in that sector, but it'll certainly give us an indication. But there are also sectors that would appear to be harder hit as a consequence of a number of challenges, Caroline. Would you agree?
Yes, indeed. And understanding kind of what that range of pressures are, and how we can work together, and how actually we can take a step back and let businesses work together. It's not, it comes back to that sort of networking bit as well. What are the common challenges that are happening, and actually how can communities come together and support those things as well? But we can, facilitate those discussions and provide those opportunities for those discussions to happen. So yeah, we're really excited to kind of, have that engagement, see where we can help. And absolutely, if there's areas where we need to get out of the way, then we will do.
Brilliant. Jeff?
Excellent. My final question was going to be, do you have experts within your team that have solutions, or that have an understanding of exactly what's happening in the economy that we could turn to and get advice from?
We have people that can understand the challenges, and we have a range of people that can help, and we can access kind of colleagues in central government as well if there's something that we can help with. So, I had a meeting yesterday with Department for Business and Trade. We have links into central government. We can absolutely sort of support with those things as well.
Okay, brilliant.
Wonderful. So turn up, learn more, contribute, sort of allow us to connect, support, and promote you as business owners. And I'm really looking forward to the event. And as you say, also the lunchtime food, that shouldn't be an incentive at all. You shouldn't turn but it might be a little bit of a carrot. Anyway, wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to share? I think what we'd like to do, sorry, I asked you a question and then started talking immediately, but I think what we'd like to do is probably get you on for a bit more of an in-depth type of interview on, okay, what have you found out? What is the plan? What type of things are happening? And maybe just even a regular, monthly or bi-monthly sort of update from the Combined Authority, the Mayor, and the business support side of things.
Definitely up for exploring that.
Brilliant. Good. And hopefully Jeff's going to entertain us at one of his Michelin star award-winning venues, because he's got 100%. A number of them.
Let us know when you're ready.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Brilliant. Zora, anything from you?
Yeah, I just kind of want to end say, we know that there's incredible talent, ambition, entrepreneurs across the Northeast, and inclusive growth benefits everyone. So when more businesses thrive, the whole of the Northeast economy benefits. So please do come along if you can and have your input and help us shape the future.
Brilliant. Great point. Thank you, Zora. Caroline, anything from you?
No, just please come along. We want to hear from you. We want to engage. It's your opportunity. There'll be more opportunities in the future, but please take this first one.
Brilliant. No, thank you so much. And I'll echo that by get along to this event and contribute and get involved, because unless you are, we don't know what the challenges and opportunities are. And actually, it's your chance to influence future support. So what is it that you need, and how might we help you start, survive and thrive? So thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Give me a quick grimace. I need to try and do this whilst I'm talking as well, because I realise I'm on air. So 3, 2, 1, and we'll get that featured in the newsletter, obviously, is what we will. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. And have a wonderful weekend.
Okay, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Caroline and Zara from the North East Combined Authority. Just to let you know, the North East Combined Authority is a combined authority with a mayor. So they're representing Mayor Kim McGuinness, and they do have support, funding, devolve opportunities, and there's a whole range of support that is available. Coincidentally, Jalf, there's actually part funding available at the minute as well, that I think businesses could and should explore.
I just can remember many years ago, there was so many little organizations. There was like the ones that we went to, Institute of Leadership. There was like the small business. There was like the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
I don't seem to. Is all of those organizations now kind of done with and finished? Because I don't know who is there to represent small businesses and fight for the things that we desperately need answers to certain questions.
So all of those institutes exists.
Okay.
ABC exists, and actually ABC is facilitating this.
Of course.
Right. So to be clear, there's been some comprehensive research done with a number of organizations and individuals feeding in to the barriers to growth. And there was some brilliant research done, and so in answer to your question, yes, ABC does that, and alongside ABC, the Federation of Small Businesses, there's a range of trade bodies, is what there is, and those trade bodies represent their members. So North East Chamber of Commerce, Federation of Small Business, Institute of Directors. We also have our own Institute of Enterprise and Entrepreneurship that we're working very closely with. And as part of that, we most definitely are going to be and continue to be.
I think it's just providing. I can ask a question. I've got no one to ask it to, right? Yeah. For example, if there was the Chamber of Commerce or little businesses where we can, so I would ask somebody, for example, when you got the tax and you got the national insurance.
Yep.
So when you pay towards the national insurance, both employees and employers, what does that actually cover? What is the insurance for? Like, I don't know the answer to that. I know we have to pay it, but what's the answer to it? My presumption was back in the day was that that covers against sickness. So you're insuring yourself. If you do get sick, then the government's going to pay out like the sick pay because you're paying for that insurance.
Yeah.
But the government have changed that where the government are not liable for that sick pay, because in the past, your P30 bill that you get every month, if someone was on the sick and you paid like 500 quid, then that 500 quid would get minus from your bigger bill. But today, that's not the case. So the government have changed that around, but have they changed? Is that legally done?
Yeah, obviously. But
So-
they can't, like, illegally.
Okay, but-
they just changed the
so-
law, don't they? They're the government.
So they've changed the law, I'm presuming.
Yes.
But we don't like I'm not privy to it. That's not been communicated to us. So we don't know. I just don't know why.
Are you privy to all of the
No,
laws?
my question would be that I would like authority to, because when I'm speaking to other peers, they feel that was not a fair change of the law if that's been done.
I mean, look, here's a very brief summary, and I'm conscious of time, and we haven't spoken about football.
Yeah.
In the UK, national insurance is essentially a tax linked to the welfare state. It was originally created to fund support from cradle to grave, so that people contributed while working and could draw support when needed. Today, it serves two connected purposes: raising money for public spending, building entitlement for certain state benefits and pensions. The important thing many people do not realise is that NI is no longer a fully separate insurance pot, sitting independently from other taxes. Most of the money goes into government revenue alongside wider taxation, although it is technically allocated through the National Insurance Fund. What national insurance pays for, a large proportion of NI contributions help fund the UK state pension, the National Health Service, maternity allowance, unemployment-related benefits, sick pay and incapacity-related support, bereavement support, and some disability and carers-related payments. The NHS point is important because many people assume income tax alone funds healthcare. In reality, national insurance is a major contributor to NHS funding. How it works: if you're employed, you pay NI through pay-as-you-earn deductions from salary. Your employer also pays employer national insurance on top of your wages. The second part is significant. Employer NI is effectively an additional payroll tax on employing people. If you're self-employed, there's a slight difference, and if you do not earn enough, you may still receive NI credits in certain situations. Why governments keep it separate from income tax? Historically, NI was sold politically as a contribution system rather than a general tax. The idea was you pay in during your working life and you earn entitlement later. That made it psychologically easier for governments to introduce and increase than simply raising income tax. Even today, many economists argue NI is partly disguised income tax because it is compulsory. It funds broad public services. Most people cannot opt out. The link between contribution and benefits is now weaker than originally intended. Criticisms of the current system: a few common criticisms are: NI can penalise work, employer national insurance discourages hiring, the system is complicated, it creates illusion of a separate pension fund, the original idea, the model helped create. So while NI often feels like just another tax,
It is just.
So there you go.
Yeah. So they should just change it.
Anyways, you've been listening to Ammar and
Jalf
live on our show. I'm going to share this report, Jalf, because this tells us where the challenges are and what the issues are and what the insights are. I think it's a really useful report for everyone to consider, but more critically, everyone needs to get involved with coming along next week. Check out AB Connections, the website. Jalf, quickly, football. Nottingham tomorrow.
Nottingham Forest on Sunday. It's gonna be. I mean, I'm not worried about the end of the season. We've got 3 games left.
On the hour, every hour, from the heart of the community to the pulse of the world. Spice Radio News.
Reform UK has gained 396 seats in local councils overnight, while Labour has lost 258. Reform has secured 2 councils so far, gaining Havering and Newcastle under Lyme. Meanwhile, Labour has lost 9. Sir Keir Starmer